let's go ahead and get into the second part of the verdict, and then I'll let everybody speak because the next video after that, Lord have mercy. So here's the second part of the verdict.
The final decision of the Supreme Court came down in 1857. 1857. Remember how this whole case started in 1846? Yeah, this has been going on for 11 years. And now it's 1857 and we're 4 years away from all-out civil fucking war over this very issue. So the court had a lot to say. 200 pages of things to say. I usually try to read everything for you guys before making these videos, but no. In this case was unique in that it was a 7-2 decision, but each of the 9 justices wrote their own opinions. Despite this, Chief Justice Taney's opinion is considered the majority opinion that is cited to today. And it's a damn doozy. Again, I didn't read the whole thing because holy shit, but it is clear from the decision that Taney was a staunch textualist, meaning he believed that the Constitution has to be interpreted based on the original understanding of the words at the time the Constitution was adopted. This is problematic for a whole host of reasons, not least of which being the Constitution is meant to be a living document that changes with the times. It was written in 1787, so it's old as dirt, and in the US we hold out the Constitution to be this sacred cow that's due complete and total reverence, but then the majority of the US has never actually read the Constitution, nor have we read the literal hundreds of years of judicial precedent interpreting that Constitution. In the US, we have the shortest written Constitution of any major government in the world. The shortest. The framers knew they couldn't answer every question that could ever come up, so they left things intentionally vague to allow for interpretation. Let me stop myself before this turns into more of a rant than it already is. As I was saying, Taney's opinion looked at the words citizen and we the people in the Constitution to determine whether those words applied to enslaved people of African descent at the time the Constitution was written. And he determined that there was no way this could be the case because most of the framers were enslavers in a society that didn't question slavery, which is ignoring the truth that there very much were abolitionists and disagreement over enslaving humans at the time the Constitution was written, and they clearly knew something was wrong with it considering they gave a hard deadline for the importation of people from Africa as part of the written Constitution. And Vermont had abolished slavery in 1777. There were plenty of facts he could have relied on to support the idea that formerly enslaved people should, at the very least, have the right to sue in court. This could have been a very narrow ruling about just that, but instead Taney made it a broad, sweeping ruling, likely due to outside pressures on the Supreme Court to make a determination once and for all about slavery.
Okay, so I'm gonna leave everybody else can talk. I already had my say. So far.
Some things never change. Some things never change. That's all I got for you, man. Because this is the same thing the Supreme Court does now. They've always done it throughout history. You can't go to an immoral thing expecting morality back. So I reject the entire thing. I literally just reject the entire thing. So Supreme Court, that's not my Supreme Court. That's the Supreme Court. You know what I'm saying? Constitution. Black folk been saying forever the Constitution was a piece of crap and it needs to be redone. No one ever listens to us anyway because they never have. And now all of a sudden, because the power dynamic or the level of favorability has shifted some, now you have the people of this same ilk who are now advocating for actually suspending the Constitution. So things never change. It's all about a power thing. And like I said, I reject the entire notion of property. Right? Now, we look at it as a historical thing. Well, back then they were considered. I don't give a fuck what they considered us. I reject every last bit. People. Right. I reject the entirety because like even to entertain it is to validate it. Right. Like it was a bull crap position. When did I curse?
You said the effing word.
I don't think I did, but I didn't. Sorry. But anyway,
I didn't remember saying that. Anyway.
But I reject that because it's all about you got to uncenter whiteness, right? The things that they were doing back then that was justified in their eyes, never justified in mine. So all of that is illegitimate. The court's illegitimate. The history on it is illegitimate. Like you can't go to the thief and then say, "Tell me about your life story on how to be a great businessman." What? So like I tell my children, never envy a thief, never trust a liar.